Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another video. Today we have an NFL mock draft. This is the third on the channel. I have one. The first one I did was a 1 round mock draft. Second one I did was a 2 round, and we're back with the 1 round. But I have a little bit more knowledge up here in my head, so we're gonna go ahead and put that knowledge to work here today. Go around, make the picks all in the first round. I think we have a new team in the first round. If I'm not, I think it's the Saints or something. Yeah, I think the Saints is in the first round now. So. First overall pick, I don't think this is going to come as any surprise, but Will Anderson Jr. off the board. Solid edge rusher, position in need, just a dynamic and great player for the Chicago Bears, and probably will be the pick there at number 1 here. I'm going to fix my hair really quick. It's really bugging me, but sorry. Anyways, moving on to pick number 2 here. Let's say that the Houston Texans have Bryce Young written off because of his size, right? I don't think anyone's considered that. There's a bunch of people saying that a bunch of front offices don't have Bryce Young as a player of interest due to his small stature and measurements. So I think that that is completely possible for the Houston Texans. And that being said, if that's the issue, who do you go with? Do you go CJ Stroud and Will Levis? I don't know. I don't know. But it is tough to put into your brain that Bryce Young isn't your QB1. And at number 2, I think Bryce Young's probably the most NFL ready. But if you're the Texans, are you looking for NFL ready or big picture? Because Will Levis is big picture for sure. Will Levis is going to be the pick at number 2. It's wild. I know. I'm sorry. First quarterback off the board. I'm just saying, what if? And then if you reach for the stars with Will Levis, I think that, this is a very possible scenario that a lot of people really haven't talked about, is if Bryce Young isn't even being considered by the Texans. So I don't know. Obviously, they have to consider him at that point, but and then at number 3 here, I think Jalen Carter is just there to be taken, and it's a position of need, and he's a very solid player. And I'm gonna shoot my hair. Okay, I got the headband on. We are good. But Bryce Young is on the board at number 4 to these Indianapolis Colts here. I think it's a good fit. I mean, Bryce Young to the Colts. I don't think a lot of people have this happening. I don't think that it's a likely opinion. I don't think it's likely to even happen. I don't know if it's a popular thing that is being talked about and I'm just not seeing it or something like that. But I like that right there for sure. And then if not, I would have possibly taken Will Levis right here if he isn't already off the board to develop behind Geno Smith for a year or two, or however long Geno Smith can be playing at an above average level for sure. But with him still playing at an above average level, you're going to want someone to kind of push on that defensive side of things. You got Uchenna Nwosu, who was great last year, and he's more of a versatile Tyree Wilson type player. And I think on the opposite edge of him, you could use a player like Miles Murphy, who we will take off the board at number 5. Make that happen. That's pretty good right there. And then I think what actually falls perfectly into Detroit's, Detroit's bag, pocket, whatever you want to say. Christian Gonzalez off the board, kind of speeding through here. Christian Gonzalez, solid corner. He's got length. He's got athleticism. He's got the tools to be one of the better corners in this class. A lot of people have Devon Witherspoon at number 1, or Devin Witherspoon at number 1, the corner number 1 at least. And then Christian Gonzalez at number 2. But personally, I think it's got to be Christian Gonzalez. At cornerback 1 for me so far. Haven't really watched anything on him. I'm not a big tape watcher, or I don't watch tape. I'll watch like a highlight reel here and there, and that doesn't really like evaluate a player's talent. I'm just seeing what the player's like, strengths and whatnot, and then I'll just tell you basically what the general consensus is for the team and the likely scenarios that might happen in a draft. So, that being said, CJ Stroud left on the board right here falls right to the Raiders. I think that is just an incredible fit. I've seen CJ Stroud in a Raiders uni before. I can't remember. It was an edited picture, but it was still pretty cool. And then I think that this will be a steal of the draft right here. I'm a big fan of Tyree Wilson and just how versatile he is, and just about how good he is here. Texas A&M edge, top 10 pick, probably a lock to be a top 10 pick. And I think that he'll fall off the board here at number 8 to the Atlanta Falcons. And then Carolina comes up Quarterbacks are all gone except Anthony Richardson. But do you want to take Anthony Richardson here? You have Sammy D, you have Matt Corral if Sammy D doesn't play up to expectations again. So, I mean, you can go ahead, build for the future. Grab Paris Johnson or Devin Witherspoon or Quentin Johnston. I think Brian Branch is being highly talked about as one of the highest upside players in the class, top 5. A lot of people have him like as potential highest potential players in the draft. They have him at top 5, and that is just so crazy to me. And I'm curious if he's worth such a high pick. But that being all said, all the edge is off the board. All that stuff is just off the board. I'm over here looking at what it thinks that it needs. Running back over here, Bijan's not going to be a top 9 pick. I can not assure that, but you never know. I think Trenton Simpson, someone that you can consider here, or at least trading down is something you can consider here. But all that being said, I think Devin Witherspoon off the board to the Carolina Panthers at number 9. You're in need of that cornerback number 1 behind Dante Jackson, I think. Yeah, I don't know. You've got CJ Henderson, Dante Jackson, and JC Horn. So I'm not sure how much you really need that corner in the top 10 pick. So I think it is a good spot to trade down and maybe go for a guy like Brian Branch or Anthony Richardson if no one else wants to take the chance here. But every single time we get to this pick, we just take the best corner available. And to me, that is Joey Porter Jr., cornerback out of Penn State. Another guy with some length on him and a little bit of athleticism. Haven't heard much about the way he plays, but I've definitely seen the measurements, and I think that he'd be a good solid frame at least. And I hear that people like him, so gonna go with him at number 10. And at number 11, I don't think this is gonna come to a surprise as anyone. I'm just kidding. We're gonna go Peter Skoronski. It's no longer Paris Johnson at tackle number 1. I think Peter Skoronski. I don't know. I've heard a lot of people say that he's better than Paris Johnson, and I can't develop my own opinion, obviously, when I don't know the two players like real in depth or anything like that. So it is what it is. And Will Levis, you have now. All right, you have Damian Pierce. You have Nico Collins. John Mechie should be making his way back. Brandon Cooks, who knows if he's going to be there. Sounds like a weak offense with the wrong weapons. Offensive line obviously isn't that great. You can add Paris Johnson, have Paris Johnson, Laramie Tunsil. Then you can kind of work out that inside either in free agency or, further down the draft, maybe John Michael Schmitz with your second round pick. But I think it's up here with the top 2 for me is Paris Johnson and Quentin Johnston. So I'm not sure which one you want to weigh heavier. Do you want to protect Will Levis so he has more time to make the right decision, or do you want to give him a wide receiver who to me probably isn't Quentin Johnston? If I were to go with anyone, it would probably be Jordan Addison at this spot. But I don't know if you want to give him that X weapon, that elite separator that Jordan Addison could be, or if you want to give him even a tall go-get-it receiver. I think he's 6'4", 200 pounds, 205, something like that. Quentin Johnston's a massive human being. But I think Paris Johnson, just sitting on the board waiting to be picked, is an interesting one for sure. I don't know. Do you want to go weapon, or do you want to go security? And I think that you already are shooting for the ceiling with Will Levis. Give him Jordan Addison off the board at 12. I know it's kind of crazy. Weird start to a mock draft. You guys are probably like, what are you doing? I'm right there with you. I don't even know what I'm doing at this point. Paris Johnson falls perfectly to the New York Jets. I'm sure they'd be very happy with that. They might even consider trading up after the first tackle goes, just so that isn't an issue. And then here at number 14, I think Quentin Johnston's going to be a player, or it'd be Brian Branch for me. But I think that you got to go probably, I don't know, who could you go here? You could probably go Quentin Johnston, Brian Branch, probably Broderick Jones or Jackson Smith and Jigma. Maybe even Brian Brzee comes up and makes a splash. But I think that we'll go with Quentin Johnston at 14. Tall, go-get-it receiver like I had already mentioned. And then here with Green Bay, you need a player like Brian Branch. You need a player like Lucas Van Ness even at this point. You need a player like Michael Mayer at this point. You need a player like Jackson Smith and Jigba at this point. You need a player like the next best edge rusher, like maybe even Brian Brzee. But I think right here you can consider like 4 things. Lucas Van Ness, Probably Cam Smith, Jackson Smith and Jigba, even Broderick Jones, Michael Mayer, Brian Branch. So you can actually consider a lot more than four. But I think I'm going to go Brian Branch. Continuing the hype on him, he has continued to just kind of grow, and a lot of people have this very high opinion on him, but it's all about positional value. And I think that when it comes to the Green Bay Packers, they're not going to go, whatever, wide receiver. So why don't you take someone that could guard the wide receivers on the other team? And Brian Branch, versatile nickel slash safety guy that can come out and play. He's already played top talent in Alabama, so, or at Alabama, I guess. So really good stuff right there. And then at number 16, you would have loved a Joey Porter Jr. at this pick, but Keely Ringo will be the pick here for me. Very solid player. I don't think that he deserves to be talked down as much as he is. I think that he still has the tools, still's got the frame, athleticism. He had one bad game, and yes, I understand it's a pretty bad big game to be bad in and whatnot, but I don't think it's fair to drop him out of the first round just because of one false performance or he shows a few flaws. Everybody in this draft class has flaws. Maybe not some as big as Keely Ringo's, but he's definitely up there. So another cornerback needy spot here is the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I think that you've also got to consider Broderick Jones here. You're going to need tackle, especially if you're invested in Kenny Pickett, and I think you are. Broderick Jones off the board at number 17. These top three tackles continuously find their way off the board before pick 20 even comes around. And then if you're the Detroit Lions here, at number 18, I think one of the best interior guys have fallen right to you. I think that's Brian Brzee, someone that could also help pass rush as well, and then maybe develop as a kind of a run stopper archetype. And then right here, I don't think Anthony Richardson is the right place. It's not the right time either. It just isn't it at this point in time. I mean, go out, get a bridge guy or something like that, but I don't know what you really want to do here. You could get Trenton Simpson, could go, Lucas Van Ness. You can go Michael Mayer, Jackson Smith and Jigba. Bijan Robinson is highly considered at this point for sure. But I don't know. If you're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you have a lot of corners on free agency, so they're going to be gone here soon, probably. I know you've got whatever the face is. Sean Murphy Bunting is a free agent, and your other guy, Jamel Dean, is a free agent. So you're basically just left with Carlton Davis, and I mean, maybe one other guy. I can't quite remember. But Cam Smith off the board at 19. It's just a position of need. It's not necessarily the best player for the pick. So it is what it is. And then if you are the Seattle Seahawks here, yeah, you can shoot. You can shoot right here for sure. Grab Anthony Richardson and just fly away with that thing. That's something I talked about earlier was, I mean, if Will Levis was on the board at number 5 where we took Myles Murphy, I could have easily taken Will Levis there. I could have easily been talked into it. But, yeah, right here, it's between Jackson Smith and Jigba and Anthony Richardson for me. And I think Anthony Richardson, I mean, they're a win-now team already, so you'd like to get better at receiver. But I think that you'd also want to build for the future as well and be a winning team for a long time. So there is that. And at wide receiver, Jackson Smith and Jigba is exactly what you don't need. Zay Flowers is good. Jalen Hyatt is good. Jalen Hyatt actually recently has been building hype, like, I guess not building hype. I've heard a lot of positive things about him, and I don't know why he's not going higher. His measurements, I mean, Jalen Hyatt, he's not small, but he's not the biggest guy. He weighs in at like 185. He's close to 6 foot. I'm not quite sure if he's there yet, but Jalen Hyatt, definitely the burner speed receiver that you need. And I did this last time as well. I put Bijan to the Baltimore Ravens, and I think I'll do it again. To have J.K. Dobbins and Bijan Robinson when J.K. Dobbins perhaps isn't healthy or something like that comes across. I'm not sure, but right here you have to consider at least corner right here, but I don't know. With Jackson Smith and Jigba continuing falling down the board, I think that is someone you can heavily consider. Osiris Torrance is someone. Van Ness is someone that you could. Oh yeah, no. Well, I don't know if you lose Zach Allen in free agency, maybe even Harrison Phillips leaves you as well. That's a bit rough. Trenton Simpson should definitely be considered, but I like Zay Flowers here as well. You got a lot of great options. I know you have Nolan Smith. You have Drew Sanders on the board as well. Antonio Johnson down the board. So you've got these guys that can all help you out, but I think the one that'll help you out the most right now is a Jackson Smith and Jigba type. Give Kirk Cousins another target to throw to, and I think that'd be pretty good right there. Here with the Jacksonville Jaguars, you can go 17 different ways. You can go Michael Mayer. You can go Osiris Torrance. You can go Van Ness, Trenton Simpson, Zay frickin' Flowers, Nolan Smith. Not quite Jahmyr Gibbs, probably not there yet. Can go Isaiah Foskey. You can go Anton Harrison, Antonio Johnson. I love Antonio Johnson. I don't think you guys have any idea. I love Antonio Johnson. Also love Sidney Brown down the board as well. But Antonio Johnson will be my pick right here. He's just such a good player. And I think a lot of people will see that, or a lot of teams will see that. And, want to maybe bring him in. But New York Giants at 25. You're going to need a lot of different things right here. Next best receiver on the board is Zay Flowers. I'm not sure if that's the type of guy you're looking for. Next best guy that you could probably get is Trenton Simpson, but a valuable piece remains on the board, and that is Michael Mayer. Do you want to take a tight end here? Daniel Bellinger's already there. I understand that. Osiris Torrance would even be a great pick here. But I think Trenton Simpson's fallen far enough. He's one of my favorite players in the class. Very, very versatile player. One of my favorites, I already mentioned. But I think it deserves to be reemphasized. He is such a good player, and I can't wait to see him in the league. I think he'll translate immediately. I think that he will be a very high upside player as well this far down the board. And then the Dallas Cowgirls right here. You've already got size in CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup. I'm not sure how much Michael Gallup's really going to play anymore with the Cowgirls, anything like that. Who knows if he can even stay healthy, headed into week 5 next year. So you're going to need receiver here. And I think Zay Flowers sitting here. The good pick goes Zay Flowers, Boston College, pretty straightforward. Don't really need to talk about it too much here. And then here with the Buffalo Bills, Jahmyr Gibbs, definitely in play. Van Ness has fallen, in my opinion. He's probably going to go maybe top 20 even. Where'd Keon White go? Keon White got dropped pretty far down this board as well. Linebacker Drew Sanders is here as well. But right here, I understand everyone probably wanting Jahmyr. You've got 3 running backs at this point. Nyheim Hines, James Cook, and Devin Singletary. But, who gets signed back? I think Singletary is a free agent. But I don't know. James Cook started playing well down the stretch. Started playing well. We'll put it that way. And I don't think that he's your go-to. Let's go with Cyrus Torrance at 27. Build that offensive line continue to keep Josh Allen protected and safe and good. I think that is the best possible scenario right here as well. And then at number 28, Michael Mayer, basically just, that is such a good pick there. I mean, it just works perfectly. I don't think you need to even hesitate for that one for sure. New Orleans Saints needs just about everyone and anyone. I think Lucas Van Ness, another guy that just falls perfectly into their lap. Someone such a high upside player and then goes at 29. It's very late. Here, yes, you can consider 7,000 different things. Jahmyr Gibbs, Nolan Smith. You can even go receiver here as well. Linebacker, next best guy would be Drew Sanders. Probably not the type of guy you want. But yeah, I think Nolan Smith I think really fits, what you need here at number 30. Probably could have gone Keon White here as well, but just doesn't really fit with what they're trying to do, in my opinion. I don't think that would be the guy that they would be most likely to go after. And then if you are the Chiefs, I think Keon White really comes into consideration, or BJ Ojolari or Isaiah Foskey, but Keon White will end up being my pick here. I'm not sure if I'm completely sold on it. Here you could also use one of the speed wide receivers. Josh Downs is almost a guaranteed good player, solid, high floor player. I don't know. You could go. I'm considering Keon White, considering Josh Downs, even Kayshon Boutte. I've heard great things about, and then tight end. You don't need, but I mean, you can get Dalton Kincaid, and he can develop behind Travis Kelce for the remainder of his career as well. I don't think Jameer is too far fetched here as well. Anton Harrison wouldn't even be that bad of a pick. Chris Smith, not probably likely at this point. So I'm just kind of stuck right here, stuck in quicksand for sure. But I think if I were to take, someone here, why do all these pictures just keep leaving? If I'm here to take anyone, it'll be Keon White, Georgia Tech player at 31. And then at 32, you've got Broderick Jones earlier. What did we pass on earlier then? I think it might have been corner. What corners are left on the board? Clark Phillips has some high upside as well. Utah corner. Tyreek Stevenson. I love Deontay Banks, but Clark Phillips will be the guy here. Yeah, just good stuff all around. I mean, tell me if you guys, I didn't mean to click save here, but tell me if you guys enjoyed. I feel like that was pretty fun. Yeah, that'll be all for me. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. That's really all. I'll see you guys.